Still breathing, still together. The mother lifted her head when she saw me. Not in fear, not in panic. She just watched. The kitten stretched, pressed closer to her warmth, unaware of how close they had come to being lost. I sat there quietly, holding the weight of it all, because this is the moment people don't see. After the rescue, after the healing begins. This is the moment where you ask yourself the hardest question. Can I keep choosing them every single day? The mother stood up slowly and walked toward me. Not far, just close enough. She sat down. And in that small movement, she answered for me. She wasn't asking anymore. She was trusting. I reached out and rested my hand on the floor near her, not touching, not rushing. She lay back down beside her babies. That was it. No words, no sound. Just a quiet agreement. They weren't a rescue anymore. They were my responsibility, my promise, my forever, whatever that forever would look like. Because rescue doesn't end when lives are saved. It ends when you choose to stay. This wasn't just their second chance. It was my commitment. The rain had stopped, but the ground was still cold. Near the edge of the village road, under a torn plastic sheet, an orange kitten sat perfectly still. Not hiding, not crying, just waiting. Cars passed. Footsteps rushed by. Each sound made his ears twitch, but he didn't move away, like he had already learned something painful. If you move too much, you disappear faster. I crouched down slowly, keeping my distance. The kitten looked at me, not scared, just tired. His fur was damp, his paws were muddy, his body was thin from waiting too long. I placed my FourPawFriends soft blanket on the ground, just within his reach. He didn't rush to it. He leaned forward once, then again, and finally stepped onto the warmth. His body lowered. His eyes closed halfway. The rain had already passed, but this was the first time he felt dry in a long while. I didn't pick him up right away. I stayed. Because sometimes rescue isn't about saving someone fast. Sometimes it's about staying long enough for them to believe they're safe. The village shop had already closed. Metal shutters were pulled down. The streetlight flickered once, then stayed dim. Near the doorway, beside an empty cardboard box, an orange kitten lay curled into himself. Not asleep, just quiet. People had walked past him all evening. Some noticed. Most didn't. Each time footsteps slowed, his head lifted slightly, then lowered again when they moved on. Hope is exhausting. I sat down on the ground a few feet away, didn't speak, didn't reach. Minutes passed. The kitten shifted closer to the wall, like he didn't want to take up space, like he'd learned that being small was safer. I placed my FourPawFriends soft blanket beside the box. One paw, then another. He didn't curl up right away. He just rested his chin on the blanket and sighed. A deep, tired sigh. This was a kitten who had waited too long for someone to stay. The days after that night moved slowly. No rush, no loud sounds, just small moments stitched together. The mother finally rested, not deeply, but enough to let her eyes close for a few minutes at a time. Her body loosened. Her breathing softened. The kitten stayed close to her warmth, pressed together like they had learned the safest place in the world was right there. I watched the way she looked at them now. Not panicked, not desperate, still protective, but calmer. Each feeding brought a little more strength. Each quiet hour brought a little more trust. I kept the FourPawFriends soft blanket nearby, changing it gently, keeping everything clean and warm. It had become their anchor, the thing that told them this place was different. Sometimes the mother would lift her head and look at me, not with fear, with understanding, like she knew this wasn't temporary kindness. There was still a long road ahead. Healing takes time. Trust grows slowly. But this family wasn't surviving minute by minute anymore. They were beginning to recover. And that is where hope truly starts. To be continued. They weren't safe forever yet, but they were finally moving forward. Something changed that day. Not suddenly, not loudly, just gently. The mother didn't jump when I entered the room. She watched me, then slowly lay her head back down beside her babies. That was new. The kittens were stronger now. Their cries were louder. Their bodies warmer, One of them crawled clumsily across the FourPawFriends' soft blanket, tumbling over its own paws. And for the first time, the mother didn't panic. She let out a long breath and simply watched. I sat nearby, speaking softly, moving slowly. No fear in the air, no tension in her body. She even closed her eyes for a moment. Not sleep, just rest. Trust doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in tiny decisions. Not running, not guarding every second, believing someone else is watching too. That day, she trusted me to stay. She trusted the space. She trusted that her babies were safe, even when her eyes were closed, and that might not look dramatic. But for a mother who had been fighting nonstop, it meant everything. To be continued. That's when I realized she was finally letting herself heal too. It happened without warning. No big moment. No sound. Just a tiny paw lifting into the air. One kitten rolled onto its side on the FourPawFriends' soft blanket, surprised by its own movement. The other watched, then copied. A clumsy bounce, a soft tumble, and then a tiny squeak. The mother lifted her head immediately. Her body tensed for half a second, then relaxed. She didn't rush over. She didn't pull them back. She stayed where she was and watched. That's when I knew something important had changed. Play only comes when fear loosens its grip, when the body feels safe enough to waste energy. The kittens bumped into each other again, unsteady but determined. Their paws weren't strong yet, but their spirit was. The mother stretched slowly and lay back down, eyes half closed. No panic, no guarding, just presence. I sat nearby, smiling quietly, not wanting to break the moment. Because this wasn't just play. It was proof. Proof that healing was happening. That survival had turned into living. And that for the first time, this family was beginning to feel like a family again. To be continued. The next step wouldn't be easy, but now it felt possible.